Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a senior game designer on Pokemon Go. I work on features like Go Battle League and Team Rocket and the social features in the game.
My name's Alex, but I'm a product manager. I help very smart, creative people like Matt, our server engineers, our client engineers, our artists, come up with really cool stuff and then try and get annoying things or things that are blocking them out of the way so they can continue to build stuff and ship stuff to trainers. Everybody has had that experience of going out and finding Pokemon, but you want to actually develop a bond and grow with them, all for the purpose of battling other trainers. I would say Go Battle League is probably the most accessible and most popular version of battling that we've released to date. You really are going head-to-head with other trainers from somewhere else in the world and trying to prove your mettle. There's nothing quite like it when it comes to that pure player versus player, trainer versus trainer style of game.
Well, this is a little bit different from our raids and gyms feature. Instead of dodging, players have a limited amount of protect shields that they can use to block charge attacks. But it's similarly real time where players are not taking the time to think between attacks. I guess only so, if they want to decide to use a charge attack or block charge attack. With the raids feature and gyms feature, you often just want the strongest Pokemon all the time. But with some of the other features, like when you're playing in a Great League or Ultra League or something or other, it's often the case that you don't necessarily want these strong Pokemon because their CP is not appropriate for that league. Like Great League, for example, is 1,500 cap, or Ultra League is 1,500 or 2,500 cap. So you would be hard pressed to find some legendary Pokemon in those leagues. Whereas when you find Team Rocket, you can use Mewtwo or Dialga or whatever you want.
Any sort of competitive game mode like Go Battle League where you're battling directly against other trainers, there's a lot of kind of intrinsic fun to it. It is fun to just compete against other people, but we also know that if it's just that, over time, it can start to get a bit stale or frustrating. So we want to give people some other goal to shoot for, something else to motivate them. The simple, clean way of doing that is to have a season. So think of it as 7 to 8 weeks of time where you know that here's a clear set of goals, here are some cool new unique rewards, maybe here are some Pokemon I could encounter as I battle. And as I start to get more wins, actually battle more times, those rewards get better and better. And then I even have a chance to end up on the Go Battle League leaderboard or climb through the Go Battle League ranks. And then I get some bragging rights and prestige out of it too. At the end of that time period, it's a chance for us to clear the decks, reestablish some new rewards, change things based on feedback, and then let people go again. So it continues to feel fun and fresh versus us just kind of fighting head to head the same way over and over again. I'm not the biggest raider in the world necessarily. So some of the items that you might typically get in raids, like TMs or rare candy, can also be found in Go Battle League. And so for me, that's really important. I really find those items to be super useful, especially as I'm building teams, trying to unlock and then get specific moves that I'm really keen on. So I like those rewards a lot. And then the other piece that I think is unique and compelling about the Go Battle League rewards is actually the Pokemon that you can encounter. So the way that Go Battle League works, you have a certain number of sets every day that you can play, and sets have multiple battles within them. So you can battle 5 times, and that comprises a set. And depending on how good you do during a set, so how many wins you get, you can get better and better rewards. And so one of those is encountering a Pokemon. And the group or the cohort of Pokemon that you might see or encounter in Go Battle League is very different from the group that you might see out raiding or doing something else. We try to keep it themed to what's happening within the Pokemon universe and world more broadly. Maybe there's an electric flavor to a certain month, and we try and have the Pokemon reflect that. We also try to have a little bit of a light battling flavor. Not necessarily all the time, but maybe there will be some Pokemon in there who you're lucky enough to encounter who in subsequent seasons you can actually start to build a team around or evolve into something you could build a team around. So those are the 2 areas that I think are pretty fun and different about Go Battle League's rewards.
I think for some of the more hardcore players, the biggest prize isn't actually any the material awards like the Stardust or the candy. It's actually getting your name up on the leaderboard and hitting rank 10, getting that Pikachu Libre or the Steven Avatar outfit for this season. I think, going through the friends list and seeing like, oh, like here's the guy with the Steven Avatar outfit. It's like, this guy must be very, very good at battling, and it's a cool way to show off your skill in Pokemon Go. Picking a Pokemon that you want to start with first and then building around that Pokemon is a good way to start. So some consideration might be like, do you want to lead with that Pokemon, or that Pokemon be maybe like on the bench to start or whatever, and then also working with the weaknesses of that Pokemon. So for example, like if you want to play Swampert is doubly weak to grass type Pokemon. You may want to have counters like Skarmory or other Pokemon like Bastiodon maybe that are particularly good against grass types, or even Charizard. Everyone's collection is unique and different, and I think that's part of what makes it special. Obviously there are Pokemon that are very commonly used in the meta. In every league, there's like that one Pokemon that's like, oh man, the thing is like so strong, I wish I had it. And even if you don't have it, I think that like looking into your Pokemon inventory and just checking out like, oh, like actually like I have a Jirachi and that thing is really, really good against Cresselia. So it makes my team a little bit unique, and I think it's a cool opportunity to add to my team.
You have to mention our favorite little blue friend, Meryl. Azumarill is definitely one of those common meta Pokemon. It's actually looking back at some of the Pokemon I've caught at GoFest, and one from 2018 that I caught is a Swablu that I actually have evolved and use as an Altaria still today in Great League. So that would be another one that comes to mind for me.
And I think that there will be a specific battle themed habitat as well, with lots of Pokemon that are pretty viable. In that one, you can see things like Skarmory or Sableye or Meditite. All these Pokemon are like quite good in Great League, and then obviously there's going to be Pokemon like Giratina, Dialga, Palkia, and these should all be good for some of the higher leagues. Based on each league, there's different strengths and weaknesses to each Pokemon, and then in the Master League, really you just want the highest possible stats for the Pokemon, and oftentimes like their typing comes into play as well. Like Pokemon like Dialga or whatever, where it's Steel and Dragon type, there's not too many counters for these types of Pokemon at the higher leagues. You want like ground or fighting type Pokemon, but outside of like the Champ and Conkeldurr for fighting, and then for ground you might see like Groudon or something or other, but there's not too many strong counters for that Pokemon.
I do think understanding the relationship between the types of the Pokemon you have in your team is critical, especially because Go Bad League is a pretty fast-paced format. It makes it really fun. But it's just super important to, on the fly, be able to understand what matchups give you a distinct advantage, which ones you have a distinct weakness for. And then as you're crafting your teams, we talk a lot about coverage. You might have one Pokemon that you really like and think is a really interesting pick, but maybe it has some glaring weaknesses. Well, then make sure with your other two Pokemon you are shoring up or covering that weakness for it. I'd say if you were going to start any place, that's pretty foundational to Go Bad League, and then all the other elements obviously make a huge difference, but they really build on top of that.
When I'm watching new players, they are often tapping the screen like above where the shield button is. I think that not tapping right where the shield is might lead the players to actually think more strategically about how they use their shields. It's often the case that they'll use their shields too early, when even if they're in an advantageous matchup, they might use their shield. It's often really important to like transition from being like a new player to a good player, where you start seeing like, oh, I can actually take this hit. This might be a not very effective attack against me, or it's not a very strong one. I can still take the hit and save a shield for a later Pokemon that might need to use it to turn over a matchup anyways. I think that also for switching, players often see like, oh, okay, I have a hard counter for this Pokemon. Like I know that my opponent has a Tyranitar out or whatever, so I want to bring in a Machamp to fight it. I think that making sure that you have a counter, being aware of like the switch timer is pretty important, because even if you bring in your counter, they might just switch that Tyranitar out or something or other, and then you're kind of stuck with your Pokemon just sitting there. So the switch timer is 60 seconds. So once you swap in a Pokemon, you are locked into using that Pokemon until the 60 seconds expires, or it gets knocked out early. I think that this is an important like strategic choice or whatever, so that players aren't just like swapping all the time. I think that in the main series game, when you watch singles gameplay, it's often like constantly swapping, trying to get like a little bit of a momentum advantage. But also in the main series, when you're swapping in a Pokemon, there is that turn where you must take an attack. You don't get an action when you swap in. And I think that similarly for us, there's like some opportunity cost to swapping in a Pokemon. Some of the raids where you're like always tapping, like maybe right on top of the charge button, it becomes the case that players use their charge attack as soon as it's available. But actually, like oftentimes it's better to finish off your opponent like with a fast attack, so you can preserve that energy going into the next matchup. So that's a common thing I guess seeing the players make mistakes with. Energy is preserved even when you're swapping. So if a Pokemon goes to your bench, then you'll still have the energy that you saved up. So I think you can fake out your opponent by having multiple, a second charge move unlocked on your Pokemon, and this costs Candy and Stardust. And it's often a good strategy to have a low-cost charge move and a high-cost charge move on your Pokemon, in addition to having like different coverage options. And oftentimes when you're fighting against an opponent, you want to overcharge your energy and have more than the energy required needed to do the low-cost charge attack. Oftentimes, like as much energy as needed to do the higher-cost charge attack. And when you launch your charge attack and use the low-cost one, your opponent might think, oh, they're using the really high-cost charge attack that does a lot of damage. I should shield this. And then when you do that, you can often get them to use their shields earlier and then, be in an advantage state.
For our battle today, Matt and I, we are bringing 6 Pokemon that are Pokemon that you're likely to encounter during GoFest. We're actually going to do a best of 3 battle where we actually pick 3 of our 6. The first 2 Pokemon I knew I was going to decide on were Altaria and Skarmory. So one Pokemon that I've always really wanted to use that I've been seeing on is actually Stunfisk, which is a new one that you might encounter this season in Go Battle League. Seviper is the 4th that I brought. Mantine is kind of a bulky staple of Great League. And then the last one is just like a favorite Pokemon, is Ferrothorn. Hopefully I don't get embarrassed too badly. That's mainly my strategy.
For me, I guess my team is Shiftry, Skarmory, Sableye, Altaria, Azumarill, and Swampert. For me, I really want to showcase Pokemon that have been featured in past events.
So I am sending Matt a challenge.
And I'm sitting on the map, eagerly awaiting this challenge.
Matt is quaking in his boots.
Yeah,
He's never played such a fearsome, low-rated opponent before.
Oh, no. Oh, here we go. Thought for sure that was Bolvine. You got me.
I was wondering if Matt was going to shield there.
Ooh, Ferrothorn.
What does he do?
Oh man. Ooh, that's a power whip. Ooh, thunder. Oh man. I'm guessing all the things wrong.
Oh, I'm getting so lucky.
Ooh, nice.
So I baited Matt there. So this is where I'm just out of my element. There's like a super subtle difference in how much it takes to charge up my Thunder versus my Power Whip. And Matt counted, I'm almost certain.
Oh man. It's gonna be close. I think you got it though.
Oof. Do I? Oh, it's gonna be tied. Oh my god. Dang it. Oh,
Man.
Good game, Matt.
Had me sweating there.
Dang. First of all, when you think about how many Pokemon there are. It's actually a total boon for us from a game design and product management perspective, because we just feel like that we could, with very small tweaks, create like an infinite number of really, really fun rule sets. Just something as simple as saying, hey, nothing over 1500 combat power creates like one of the wildest, most confusing and diverse metas out there, right? And that's just like one super simple tweak. So we're really excited to dive into a bunch of the other options we have, whether that's starting to think about limiting stuff to specific types in addition to combat power. Things could get funky in a number of ways for the better. That's my main thing. Is I feel like we've only just begun. There's a ton of stuff for us to play with in the coming months and years.
There's so many Pokemon out there, and we have like lots of different events, whatever. So I'm looking forward to both tying in like Go Battle League with events, or like making like different cups based on like types, or maybe even different CPs. I think that like being able to play in like more restricted formats can be kind of cool, and I think it can also highlight different Pokemon that you normally don't see. And I think for like Premier Cup, for example, like Master League has been traditionally dominated by the legendary type Pokemon and mythicals. So I think that this is like a good first step to see how this might go, and like people can try it out, and there's lots of other strong Pokemon out there that they should pay attention to.